Hey y'all, what's going on? Okay, the underground. Now y'all, I don't know if I'm a little somber this week because it's this episode and then when it comes on next week, that's it. It's like it just went by too damn quick. But I did read that they were going to do a part 2. And some people would think, well, how they gonna do a part 2 when it's about to make about like the making 7 or whatever? No, baby, it's about the underground. This is the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we gonna be like the Roots and have episode 2000 where we, you know what I mean? That shit. Which, by the way, I ain't here for. I know the Roots story, honey. We don't need to do it again. We don't. You know, people thought this one was going to be yet another slave movie. No, it is not. Show, I mean. No, it is not. Okay, so y'all, I don't know why, but for some reason, this one just... it just wasn't... It was eventful, but it wasn't eventful. Does that make sense? Okay, let's start with, we know that they got, Rosalie. We know they got her. Old dude has her now. They take her into this cabin, and you know, instantly, I knew from last week what the intent was. Like the mother, you know, and who knew what Mr. Part Indian, part this, part that, part I like to fucking get cut at the same time. You know, who knew what he was gonna do? So basically, they was like, "That's a white woman's dress." Kind of like whites only pass. That's a black man's coochie. Keep your dick out of it. Shit. You know, and vice motherfucking versa if you want to do that. You know. So anywho. So it's like she's taking her shit out, but old dude's like, that's another man's property. That's so fucked up. A human being is another man's fucking property. That's another man's property, and she's going back intact. Basically, holding on to that vajay of hers, you know, making sure she's intact, honey. Now, in the midst of that, you know, she takes off his dress and throws it on the fire. And I'm like, oh, shit. Now, before they go let her go, they get back to slap the shit out of her motherfucking ass or something, but she throws it on there. But I'm just like, oh, well, that was just being defiant or whatever. But child, little did I motherfucking know. Not that I didn't know that she knew about the herbs and this and that and other, that some episodes back, when she was getting that damn devil's root or whatever it was, that it was also hallucinogenic. As I'm watching it with my husband, he's like, what is it, like PCP or something? Who knows what it is? You know, all of this came from, other than some of this newfangled shit y'all smoking and shit. You know you motherfuckers be smoking. Oh, that's Clement's Claws with a bunny rabbit twist with that blackberry crunch on it. The fuck out of here. Stop. I don't know. Don't, Now, give me some of that ruckus root. Y'all know I'm going to quit. We talk about underground. I'm just saying that at some point, these things were indigenous and in their natural form. Who knows what they were meant for, but they have been perverted. And it could have very well been that that's something that kind of lays a person out. Also, if it's smoked, you know, it might have been meant to ease some pain and, you know, get them euphoric or whatever. Anyway, he takes her back in the back, ties her up, and tells his son to watch her. You know. But in the midst of it, he goes out of his way to let her know that, you know, your dad, you know, like she was like, and he called me his daughter, he said that, you know what I mean? And he was like, in no one's, you know what I'm saying? In words, you just kind of knew because he's playing double and this and that and other. So, yeah, it looked like she took some solace in it, but we find out later on that, honey, ain't no way in the world she wasn't harboring no motherfucking feelings. You know, so the son has to sit there. The daddy goes out, and old dude who's with the mountains, he's like, I've seen that look before. And like I seen a dog that was itching and a hound that was ready to get out or whatever. And are you sure your son can handle it? So he's like, my son can handle it. He's like, you handle your man or whatever. Old dude's talking to you. See, he's trying to swindle his ass some kind of way. He goes over to his backpack, package, whatever, pouch, and there's this letter, but, he sees it, but it's like that's giving him some tease or whatever. Like, oh, okay, so I see how I might be able to finagle this shit. He's like, look, I'm just trying to get this done, get back home and be with my crazy ass wife. Basically. Now, the son sits in there. Now, in the midst of that, we know that Noah, I was going to say Moses, Noah and Mr. Honey Cabbage is there, and they whooping and fighting. And the funny shit is, see, I caught the shade in it. I caught it. Now, it's one-on-one, so it's one black man against one white man, one black man against one white man. But then one of those black men was wounded and shot and was fighting from the ground and still whipped your ass. Going back to what I said, you see the strength in it, and I know you do. You have every reason to be afraid. And whooping his motherfucking ass. Now, these motherfuckers got the horses, this and that, and the other, Kato, whatever his name is. He's, scrapping and going through, and he goes to the little shit to see what's in the carriage, and the money falls out. He was like, we could live better than these white folks. We could buy some whites only pies with this. So him and old dude is kind of back and forth. He's like, we need to get Rosalie. He's like, man, here I am again on this shit, and he ain't feeling her, even though he is feeling her. Okay, so they kind of have words, and Noah's like, I ain't buying that. That whole shit about you not caring about nothing. I seen it in your eyes, honey. I seen you in the bonnet or whatever the fuck it was, and I know you looking for something. So they like giving each other the eye, and they have a couple of words, and next thing you know, Noah done popped in. He done popped Noah, Noah popped him back. However it went, they popping the shit out of each other, basically, at the end of the motherfucking day. And again, like I said from minute one, this is not just dealing with slavery. This is the beginning of what I want to call the whole light skin, dark skin thing. House nigga and field nigga. Please know it. Because there is a disdain between them. One for the other. But almost equally as strong. You know what I'm saying? Pretty equal. So they battling out, scrapping and shit. They got old girl where she's at. Now back and forth at some point, we going back and forth between old girl who had to fuck the dude to take care of the baby. Now he done come back like it's been too long. I need some more of that whites only coochie. So he's like at the door and she's like no, and she done smacked his motherfucking ass, and I thought she killed him. Y'all, the whole time I was like, bitch, tell him you bleeding. I swear to God, that's how it was in my head, bitch. Bitch. Now, you get one go around with that or two. You got some smart ass man to be like, whatever, let me see. Anywho, so she pops his ass, honey, the baby's hat, but she was reading to the baby and all that. She got her black death shroud on. She's in black shit like she grieving. I guess she grieving her coochie. But honey, then we come to find out that when your husband come back, and y'all, I'm just all over the place. When your husband come back, he gonna tell you some shit like, you was with him, engaged to him, and then you left him, you was with me, and you had sex with me before. Basically, that was what he was alluding to, it seemed like to me. And she's like, what was I supposed to do? I was afraid. I had to hand this coochie out to save this baby. He's like, for her, for me. And y'all, remember what I said about the whole shit with Duchess and Black Ink, yeah, I'm all over. How C's was kind of like, real time, some shit like that. You ain't gonna be so loosely in there giving it. Bitch, you gonna be standing up, he gonna be sitting down something. I don't know. You gonna need to have a pass out of there. Honey, She's saying, and y'all, wait. Let me digress a little bit and pull that back. Okay. Now, as they going in between, because I need to pull that back, digress, and go to this. He's somewhere, and they have this whole slave thing where they selling slaves. And why did I think I seen Steen up there for sale? But that one white chick said, I ain't never been touched by no man. And then the one said yes, and the doctor said she's intact, honey. Let the biddings begin. Old dude's like 400. Yes, I'm gonna need me some of that black untouched coochie. Yes, honey. Bidding, and you start hearing, okay, 475, 500. I'm like, oh, bitch. And meanwhile, I'm still in my heart like, really? How beat down would you have to be that jazz and say, and I ain't never been touched? Like, oh my God, oh. Lord, my people, how beat down they were at the hands of other human beings, at the hands of treachery. So it's like, okay, they business 575, so and so, and then it went to 750 or 700. It's like, we ain't never seen no coochie go that high. Do he know this nigga coochie? Yep, that's why it's so high. It ain't that shit you're accustomed to, you know, whites only puss. Anyway. And in some ways, y'all would have the slave women and say that was whites only pussy too, because you wouldn't want them with the bucks. The bucks was only breeding with the ones, you know, big hip Hannahs and things like that. But the other ones, y'all didn't even want them to sleep with their own women. The fuck out of her. But they ain't have to worry about it, because one way or the other, they was getting that dick wet by all them motherfucking bareback betties. All them motherfuckers that like a little bit of mandingo. You know what? I just thought about y'all. Y'all know they still doing shit like Mendingo parties now. I wonder how that conversation go. Hank, I'm going to be 54, and all these years I've been happy with you, Hank. I have. I really have. But I've always wanted, you've given me everything. I got everything I want. You put me on the pedestal, all of that. Beautiful home and children, yada, yada, yada. But the one thing I don't have that I've always wanted is a mandingo party. You think you can round up some good old long dong black man for me, and you sit in that chair while they just dog me and abuse me like I need to be abused? Now, some Hank's gonna say, sure I can, Becky. Long as I can participate. Let's move forward, y'all. Let's move forward. So, we have all of that shit going on. He's going back and forth. He done won him, and the one guy that he won it from, he's talking to him. He was like, I had a nigga to run, and he talked about how, you know, just kind of slowly but surely giving the whole motherfucking Jim Crow and the motherfucking Willie Lynch shit. And this one right here ran, but he won't do it no more. I broke him. And he put shit on him, so he know every time he move, he got bells on him. So the one guy looked up at him, looked up at the guy, you know, the one that's happened with the underground, and he was like, you know, they gonna try to, he's like, well, I'm willing to do like, almost like pitching lots or whatever for a trade for her or whatever for him. You know. Meanwhile, I'm thinking that the dude who lost it was like, I ain't, you know, he's like, really? So he takes him to this little bullseye shit, they gonna throw knives, and just when old dude grabbed a knife, he put the knife in his hand, honey. Now, they was going back and forth between that, and you could see they put the camera on his hand bleeding, and this is as it's playing out. As it gets towards the end where he's talking to the old girl, and he's like, you did it for her, and why would you do that? I just want to slap you for letting some other man be with you, you know, and he's going back and forth. Now, he got the ups. The dude slapped him, but he got the ups on him, and the dude with the bells on him seen this opportunity and helped him. He helped the best that he could. Old dude taking all his frustration, honey. He said, I almost beat that man to death. And the slave, the guy with the bells on, he was like, go. Just make it look like a slave did it or whatever. And I'm like, wow. See how much humanity, even though he has so-called been broken. See, you either a treacherous thing or you're not. You know what I'm saying? To the core. You know, that born treachery, that's to the core, that's to the bone. It ain't gonna never change. But then there's those ones, you know, the slaves that you beat down, like Cato, whatever his name is. I don't know why I'm calling him that. Is that it, y'all? Leave that shit below. Whom has been, he's picked up your learned behaviors. You made him think he was in there with you. You know, on some old Ben Carson shit. Even though Trump called you a pedophile and all that, you still willing to lick his boots and the orange part of his ass. But you ain't in. Your money don't get you in. Your education don't get you in. None of that. But guess what? Why the fuck you trying to be in anyway? Be in your own shit. See, that's the problem with our community. We want to be in. For what? Do you really know? Do you really know what you're trying to buy into? Are you trying to get into? Are you trying to assimilate? That's almost like, to child, sit your ass down. Anywho, let's move forward. So he gets that done. Now back to the chick, and they argue back and forth, and I'm gonna stop there. And I want to go to Noah and the whole shit as it's going on. Child, somehow he's covered in blood. He went in there, he going get him, and we're at the damn slaughtering place. And little did we know that when Miss Honey came us through that whites only dress on the far, that it had that motherfucking plant in it that causes hallucination. These motherfuckers is tripping. And so is she. But she got to have her wits about herself and stay it together, stay the motherfucking course, and she knows she put it in there, so she got that much ups on it. Now, this shit's going on. She said there, and the young boy, he sees something. They kind of talking and whatever. He had gave her water, and she had already tried to say, parents, I don't like it. Just looking over me, trying to get in his head. Now, they slowly but surely, it's like the shit is getting blurry and some shit's going on. And he looks at this paper and he was like, he lied to me. He was like, you ain't no more good to me. I don't need you or whatever. So she thinks he's coming with this knife to stab her. But he's not. He's cutting her out of those ropes. Meanwhile, his dad is somewhere daydreaming about Steen, honey. In the damn bush and shit, she done got all up on it with the knife, and the blood never comes off, and the wolf in you, and this is animalistic and shit. Steen giving you what she give, honey. Miles away from her baby, but giving what she give, but it's in his head, so really? She begins, to talk about the son and how he looks at him. Now, he don't look, you ain't got control of him. You ain't got nothing on him. He, like I said, he would realize, and he was realizing what his dad was. So, while he's doing that, Noah done got in there and stabbed the fuck out of one of the guys, and he's slowly going through with blood dripping on him and shit. Is that lipstick? Yep, it sure is. Why be damn. I always do that. I'm smoking, so I do this, y'all. I'm telling you that the shade is pigmented, okay? Anywho, so it's like she's going through her shit. Noah's creeping through, but Noah sees him. And did you hear her tell, the whatever's tripping in his mind, like, yeah, she knows about that from me. And just like I knew, like I said, y'all, the Indians in our story runs neck and neck. But I was wondering if they were going to bring in, the black folks that was brought over that may have carried and had that voodoo in them, their, doctrine. And I'm just saying, y'all, and I'm still looking for some shit like that to come out. I don't know why. That's just me. I don't know. So she's going through a whole shit. He sees him over there talking to herself. Meanwhile, oh girl, she's tipping off, and I'm hoping she gonna run into Noah, but she goes through this door and she's in what seems to be her daddy Master's office. And he's talking, and she got these gloves on, and you know, they having their words back and forth. At one point, he said, "You a house bitch" or something. And then up jumps the dude that got stabbed in the neck that she stabbed. And she said, "That was my first act of freedom, stabbing you." And she said, "I wanted you dead. Wanted to kill you." Because she already told her dad, "How can I be your daughter? How can you let him do this to me and beat me and beat me? Look at this, is always on me." Then the character pops up and he's like, "Every time you look at your arm, you're going to see it. That's on you forever." And she's kind of struggling, trying to fight this and that, the third. And you see her arms open up and shit. And I'm like, oh, shit, now. So at this point, she's getting mad and she got this knife in which the young man gave to her. Now, and she thinks she's stabbing the master, but she stabbed him. Now, I know for the 1, 2, it might have been 3 people. Was like, "Get a little boy a chance, honey." I found myself looking at that, and I was like, Now, that kind of hurt me, y'all. I have to say, it hurt me. It hurt me. Why? Because I have humanity in me. It hurt me. Because he was seeing that his dad wasn't no good, and that wasn't, you know, who and what he was. And he's calling for his dad, and his dad hears him. And I'm like, this bitch done stabbed him. Bitch, none of these motherfuckers chasing after y'all is nothing like this motherfucker here mad. You know. So I'm all in my feelings like, oh Lord. And y'all, let me say this real quick, because I read and I saw where the guy that played the one that was hung, Lord Jesus, Sam, he said that it was, the way it was meant to be was a suicide. And I think a couple of my loves may have said that it was a suicide. But it seemed to me like the guy, the master did, because when he was talking to Steen or whatever, you know, talking, it was, no, to his brother, it was kind of like he did what he had to do. You know, so but the way old dude who played the character said, it was meant to be a suicide. It was a suicide. You know, so I was just like, wow. Can you imagine how many slaves did kill themselves? Let alone the ones that didn't even, they died on the water like they was nothing. I'm not going to get out of the way of my feelings, because I promise you I'll be the one ham, turkey, and bologna on here, okay? So anywho, so the little boy stabbed, he's over the little boy, this and that and the third. We go back to the house. Somebody, you know, they been arguing and shit. He's like, he want to slap her. They going back and forth, and the baby come through, and she got this gun and she's shooting. I'm thinking she gonna shoot him, but she missed, you know, and the wife ran over to her. He went and got the gun, and there's a knock at the door. And guess who it was? Rosalie and Noah. Now, y'all, please know that I haven't forgot about the part where old dude's hanging from the tree, because that is that is a major part of this. He kind of gets caught up in the tree in the string. They try to help him. Oh, dude, they got guns, but they got him pinned down, you know, and it's like they cut him down and he got shot with arrows and shit. And yet again, the Indians that let them know how to do their shit. And they shooting at him, and Noah's like trying to help him, but it's like he got him pinned down, and he threw this knife down. Like, again, going back to what I believe, the suicide, gone to end yourself. And I just, you know, he's looking at old dude on the ground. Old dude on the ground is like, And of course he ran to go get Rosalie. Now, is that Bonnet? Because he tried to act like I ain't thinking about that house girl. Oh, yeah, you are. Is that Bonnet hers or whatever the fuck he be looking towards? Because I know he was looking some kind of way when she was playing that piano. Anywho, this shit gonna get deep, but I got a feeling, I don't know, maybe he is gonna make it and maybe he ain't. I don't know. It was just seemed like it was just one shot. When Noah got to Rosalie, she's like, where is he at? And she was awful concerned. And it's like, you hear the gunshot, he didn't make it, they start running. Next thing you know, they at old dude's them house, they get in there, And the little girl instantly leaves from the lady who done sacrificed her coochie for her. And did y'all happen to see the glare in her eye as the little girl ran to Rosalie? It was kind of like, because she had said it's been so happy around her. And it's like she's going to be able to keep this little girl. You know, because you know she ain't had no baby and wasn't able to or whatever. So I'm like, what's going to go on with this? You know. Plus, she had the nerve to tell her husband, you brought this in the house. Bitch, you was all for it after. The little boy was up there fanning, you was for it after you made that trip down south, honey. So I'm trying to understand. But anywho, y'all, that's what I got on the underground. Like I said, it really wasn't that eventful. This one, for some reason, just was different. It felt different. I don't know. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. You know, I'm actually, and like I said, I'm just somber about it because I know it's just one more episode. And then it's gone. You know, and honey, it has given Empire a run for its money because I'm more looking for 10 o'clock than I am 9. Like, I'll go back and look at Empire some kind of way. But I told y'all how I felt about that. Like, real talk. I said how I felt about that. You know, so, I don't know. Y'all leave y'all shit below. Tell me how y'all felt about this episode. What, you know what I'm saying? Or how you feel about it being over. Has this show really, you know, black, white, blue, yellow, Indian, Asian, whatever, has this show impacted your life? And given what we're going through now, and now that we know that orange thing is going to be the Republican nominee and that the hillbillies and the hills have eyes folks is going to be voting in droves, how do you feel about, like, how are you feeling just seeing all of that? You know, I'm going to say this and never got shit to do with it. All right, you better motherfucker. Y'all know you better vote. I ain't got to go there. Lord have mercy, you better vote. So, just let me know how you feel. Tell me, you know, how you feel. What is this putting in the mind up? I think this is an amazing show, and I pray that it wins awards, but we know, you know, whether they give it to him or not wanting to be, you know what I'm saying, be in, you know, we know that there'll be some dumb shit that'll win it over top of it, but we know what it meant to us, and I am so very grateful that this show was made. I haven't been this excited about a show in a long time, and one with a meaning. So this meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? So anywho, y'all tell me what y'all think about it. I'm out. Much love.